Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, the beautiful sights of Beijing. There's a lot of people in there as well. Very, very popular site for everyone to take photos. Hello, welcome back to the desk. You were pointing at something.
I was about to say, because Beijing has a lot of tourist trap spots. If you go there, if you're just trying to move, you have a problem.
That was the Forbidden City, and I know that because I play Civilization.
There we go.
There you go.
I actually couldn't get into the Forbidden City.
It is forbidden. So.
No, well, wait a minute. You didn't tell all those other people, all those other tourists that was walking up over there. So yeah, we're in Beijing for this one, and it seems like FPX is already regretting it.
Yeah, Beijing hasn't been so kind to FPX so far, but BLG, they're loving it, and they had some fantastic engages, and one of the key people, not one of your key people, but one of the key people within those engages was Kuro, who picked up the MVP of that last game, and you got yourself a bit of a rant.
What happened to Meteor, though? I will see it when the replays go through, and I think a lot of you people out there will agree with me, but Meteor had such a damn good game. That being said, if I was able to give it to someone else next to it, I think that Kuro had fantastic follow-ups, and then in one of those major team fights through mid, he had a great flank to come in and get 3 members, so it was a tag team game, but someone is a bit stronger.
Meteor won out on the visual impact. I'll give him that one. I think that's why he got the MVP, but I'm sorry, Kuro won over because of the visual impact. But I think what this game one really showed us is how well BLG can play team fights and how well they can disengage. They definitely know not to stay clumped up against the enemy team composition, and their collapses are just on point, always arriving before the solo laners of FPX.
And that just kind of, rings true to what we were talking about just before we went to, break. This is a team that anyone could have honestly won it. Even XinMo in that last team fight, I think this is actually the one here. It's like you can see him actually, being the MVP. It's actually not this one, it's the next one. Of most of these like little skirmishes, it's like anyone could have honestly taken MVP and it would have been justified.
Yeah, I love the fact that Jinjiao and XinMo have really taken their role to heart, where they will receive a lot of pressure from the LPL bottom lanes out there, and they don't get many resources, but at the end of the day, they play incredibly well in these team fights. Jinjiao is able to dish out a lot of these damage, and throughout the entire game when he was, public enemy #1 from FPX. FPX was just trying everything they could to dive him. He's able to survive. This was the fight that you were referring to. This is the fight where Jinjiao actually came out alive, and a 4-man charm knockup from XinMo. Remember, XinMo is a rookie this year, alongside Meteor, and XinMo came in from the EDG Academy team, comes into a mainstay squad in BLG, and performs instantly in a team that is, multilingual. Korean imports coming in this year, and so in terms of communication, it was a very tough tribulation for the team in Spring Split, and it seems like all of that has just been thrown to the wayside. They look incredibly crisp in team fights.
And I have to say, I think it's because everyone on the team knows their roles so well. Bottom lane, you are a counter initiation. Yes. People are going to fly towards your faces, you're going to walk back, and then engage back onto them. The Korean players, you guys are playing the 1-3-1. You're the side lane, so there's no Chinese being spoken there. Probably not a lot of communication issues. That's just my guess, but I think it works out.
They do have some very basic, Chinese, because they are studying quite a bit. Yeah. And another point too, because we look at mic checks, there's basic Chinese and actually another basic English being spoken amongst the members. These are the type of things that you kind of remember from EDG 2015 when they ended up getting, MSI championships for themselves. Is that at the end of the day, knowing your role is the most important thing, because playing the game is the best language. Recognizing, essentially, if you're in a 1-3-1, knowing your composition, you can just go through it unspoken. Really well done from the side of ADD and Kuro, playing these team fights so incredibly well.
And it comes as well down to kind of, the veteran players like the Kuro, the ADDs, having those kind of, what I like to call League of Legends instincts. You don't need vision, you don't need to, communicate it with your team. You just have a feeling that you should be in a particular place at a particular time. Yeah. And that actually can ring through, and did ring through for a lot of that game.
So my issue coming into this one a little bit on the pick ban, and I think a lot of it is just, it's so tough pushing back Xayah Rakan in team fights. You can't actually nail it down in lane as well, so a lot of the times when you see a Xayah, you do want to take the Rakan outright, or at least just ban it. I think that's the primary concern that I would have, is that you're giving both that away to a weak side bottom lane. They want to have that so they are as safe as possible, and I think they played out a lot of those dive situations really well. So good job to BLG being able to nail that. Another thing too is Akali. Akali's been that blue side flex for BLG, and they were able to give it towards ADD, and he performed so well on that.
I want to go on to that point about ADD. Is I think FPX should be focusing more towards the top side in terms of dives rather than the bottom side. BLG, their late game strategy revolves around the 1-3-1, and if you shut down one of their side lane split pushers early, that threat dissipates. You can play more of the 5v5 team fights, so I want to see FPX shift their faith towards GimGoon.
Yeah, and my big concern is I've already seen a few best of fives today, and there's a lot of, I mean, it depends on who you're asking, if they're a fan of, you know, one team or another. Upsets. Upsets have been the name of the day for me. And so coming into this one, you don't want to see FPX, a team that has been so damn dominant in the regular season and for the entire year, to be honest, to just kind of just drop out to the third, fourth place matchup. BLG is putting it, like, really chasing this one. They have been pretty confident on social media. You know, the managers, everything. They're not saying, hey, we want to make Worlds. They say we want to be LPL champions.
Oh, wow.
So they've been really gunning for it because they're so damn confident in their players.
I just want to make a quick shout out to Meteor right there. We saw his stats, 81% kill participation, probably giving him some well-deserved recognition for missing out on that MVP.
Yep.
Right now, it's all about kind of what FPX decide to change. It's all about what they want to kind of move forward with and make those decisions with. Like you said, you want to try and see them maybe put a little bit more emphasis towards the top side, maybe try and get that bot lane a little bit more shaky off of a less strong pick. What's the next adaptation? What do they look for in the next pick and ban?
I think from FPX perspective,
Yes.
correct? I would try and push away from the GP. You want more mobility there and more movement from GimGoon. GimGoon's an incredibly strong player. We've seen that in the last series in the regular season when they went up against TOP. And in general, I know GP is his best pick. In fact, it's ADD's best pick. That's why I would outright just say ban the option. Give something more mobile there for GimGoon, so when he's in a dive situation, he has the ability to outplay it. Put him on something like a Renekton, or even thinking about the Aatrox. So much just essentially self-sustain ability in that lane would do a lot of good.
Yeah, I'm thinking about the dive ability as well. Renekton and Elise were both banned in the previous draft, so that's one I want to look forward to. BLG knows it themselves that GimGoon can go off on that champion pick, and he is very elective in terms of the things he plays. We've seen the Camille as well come out, a great 4-1 bruiser type of player, and I think they should put more faith in him. Switch it up a little bit. Cut ADD off from good early games.
And sometimes I give out boring answers. Because at the end of the day, I'm a purist when it comes to you can, a lot of times, play better rather than pick better, because in this situation, I felt like their composition made a lot of sense. And so from FPX perspective, when you have Baron, you don't need to clump up and group up as much as you do. I know that is a style that they end up having for themselves because they're so confident in their team fights, but get Baron, split up. Really make BLG work for it. BLG is an incredibly good Baron team because they can end it off their split push situation, being creative with ADD's placement. Well, like he's going to be a lot more creative. We're going to have Silas pick up on the side of BLG.
Big change here is the Xayah takeaway from BLG. They don't want Jinjiao on that champion anymore. He actually had 42% of the kill share in the previous series with this champion. So he's popping off. You have to take him off because he's too hot.
And it's just a good way, too, because Rakan is a fairly weak laner. So if you're just taking one of the two duos out there, then you're just squashing it entirely. And now, Jinjiao really has to work for it in team fights, keeping himself alive. It's just so easy to filibuster fights if you're Jinjiao with the Xayah Rakan. This time, going to be easier for FPX to find those dives.
And like you said, FPX not having such a problem with the composition, more how they executed that composition, going back over to Tahm Kench and the Varus.
And I think the next go-to for BLG should probably be the Ezreal. We've seen that a lot from them. And this 1-3-1 comp, I don't necessarily see Sivir as being a great answer. Sivir against Tahm Kench and Varus, quite dangerous in lane. So I do expect the Ezreal now, where FPX is just going to take it out.
A fun thing about the draft between both of these teams is they actually have a very deep jungle pool between Tain and Meteor. So we already talked about in depth about the AP Shyvana that Meteor had going up against EDG. And then from FPX's side, Tain is a damn good, you know, well, he's played Silas jungle last split. This time around, he's actually been pretty damn good at Lee Sin career-wise, and Jinjiao something he's willing to pick up to boost the early game. So they're not too concerned about getting the jungle pick on first phase, but oh, they're going to find themselves in Elise no matter what, so they just want that early game power along them.
Yep, they're forcing out the Renekton ban from BLG and potentially more tower dive options. So Elise is probably the single best champion at closing out when you have a pushing lane. They already have the bot lane set up. They're looking for that top lane as a counter pick.
And we have some damn good bruisers on the side of GimGoon and Doinb. So yes, Renekton must be taken away because it is a great flex. And this is where the good mind game comes in. Do you respect the Kled? Because Doinb and GimGoon are historic Kled players, but they didn't get to play that this split. In fact, they elected away from that. So the Kled pick is something that I know is looming over BLG in this game, but you kind of have to not ban it knowing that they haven't wanted to play it the entirety of the summer split.
Pantheon going to be taken away instead.
Take it away. Get away from Dimbu.
Rework Pantheon, just for everyone to kind of mention that.
And it makes sense as well. You've got the Elise. There's a lot of early game pressure if you put the Pantheon in that as well. The kill lane becomes a multi-kill lane with 4 or 5-man dive spot, more likely to happen.
There we go. Qiyana being taken away from BLG. Put it in the hands of what I would believe to be Doinb, and you can get magic rolling. So I like the fact that we were talking about, you know, picking a lane and camping it with the Elise pick. Seems like Doinb and Tain are going to be working fairly closely this game.
I just want FPX to still play something aggressive into the top side. I need to see GimGoon have a chance in his own lane to be snowballed upon. So that's why I'm looking for the last pick, but BLG, the rest of it, fairly standard. Ezreal, like we were talking about, want to find something safe against those dives, and also another good 1-3-1 champion with the wave clear from My Scoring Gauntlet.
Lock this in. ADD doesn't lose on the Poppy. He is a Poppy connoisseur. He knows how to make it work. And he just blind picks the champion where people across the world will think this is suicidal going up against the GP who has the range advantage, will burst you down. But think of it this way. Kuro and Meteor find an opportunity to go topside. GimGoon is sure as fire dead. That's just going to be, you know, wall slammed into extra CC with the Abscond of Duck. So there's a lot of power up in the top side of the map. A lot of team fight potential there too. But if I'm just going to give my vote to a side based off pick ban alone, I definitely like this from FPX. At least Qiyana should nail down. They have a lot of damage, burst potential early on. At least one pick. So even though BLG 3-man topside, I think, is the goal, I like it from FPX a little bit better.
I think we have to say that FPX are now doubling down on their strategy from game 1. They're going even harder with the picks. You know, Jarvan, a little too slow. Has only Cataclysm at level 6. We're going to go with the Elise, which is faster. Rumble, not enough hard crowd control. We want Doinb to have more agency. We're going to pick the Qiyana away from BLG. So FPX are saying, you know what? Our strategy that has got us to this point, it works. We don't have to shift. We're going to stay the course. While on BLG's side, I actually feel like this is a little bit different from them. They're playing even more protective and even more for the team fights, foregoing the 1-3-1 by selecting the Poppy.
Yeah, and so that's what I'm kind of looking towards, because both of these teams played pretty damn slowly in the early game in game 1. And so if you can get Poppy to that state, then everything's gone. you don't know how these team fights will play out until you find out how many people were actually kicked out of the fight based off the Poppy ultimate alone.
FPX, they are sharpening their spears, while BLG, they're brandishing their shields. They're going back into an offensive versus defensive matchup, and both sides are going to the extreme ends of their compositions for this one.
We'll have to wait and see if this is the answer that FunPlus Phoenix need to get themselves back into the series, or if BLG just have their number. We're jumping straight onto the Rift for Game 2 of this best-of-5 semi-final here in the LPL.
Rest in peace, IG.
Not dead yet.
That's true, Gauntlet.
Still got Gauntlet.
Don't count them out.
BLG! BLG! BLG!
全军出击！
That's right. You let the leader of the FPX fan club talk. It's the wife of Doinb, who has been the main person of course, accomplishing that. And for game 1, the X-Master started off the chance for both of these teams, but seems like the fan club leaders for both these teams taking hold on that one.
Maybe that was the reason why they lost.
What?
Wait a minute.
Wow, don't blame that on DX Master. That's unfair.
You respect the master. I ain't taking that. I'm going to add him on Twitter.
I will say, though, that I would prefer my spouse rooting for me as well. Taking a look at the runes, pretty standard. We are going to see the lethal tempo, so once again going for the on-hit build on LWX. And Grass of the Undying on the top side. You can proc that with the passive from the Poppy Shield.
And the parlay from Gangplank. So handbags up on the top side, as I like to say, is, you know, no real damage going to be done to either side unless we do see some jungle intervention. And Kiana versus the Akali. Doinb now needs to kind of make more of a proactive approach towards this lane.
It is a skill matchup, but you kind of give it towards the Akali with, you know, the ways that she can, you know, bounce into her Shroud, essentially consistently land her 2 damage, passive damage as well. So it's going to be a little bit difficult for Doinb early, but to be fair, a lot of Kiana matchups are exactly like that. So it's really once she's able to get her first base off. Oh, really just ducking into Fog of War there. So nice going here for Meteor, not being caught out.
Saw the exact same pathing for Meteor last game when he was on the Kiana. So he just has a very set path for him to go on. Means that he's able to get that early aggression. Tain going to be noticed on this ward in the Tribe Bush, but he's going to be able to swap sides of jungles.
It should be fairly easy for XinMo to then play defensively, recognizing that if Tain is moving towards his Krugs, he can move up and defend that. But there is no Krug. That was cleared out. It's just going to be difficult for Tain to do much around that side, so he's going to be moving straight towards mid lane.
And I just want to point out, in the top side, ADD somehow got destroyed in the minion wave. Lost a lot of his HP and had to walk back to base. So things not starting out that well. Let's see if he can rebound with the jungler close.
This is how bad the matchup is, by the way. It's very difficult there for ADD. I have seen some Poppy players able to punish like some misplay, mispositioning incredibly easy. The damage on Wall Slam being able to double up is actually really good for Poppy players who are able to kind of punish some of those misplays, but GimGoon is not going to get caught out by that. He's also a pretty damn good Poppy player himself, so recognizing the matchup, able to get a lot of gold for himself. Good start from the GP player.
But we are seeing the threes being set up once again by BLG, and this is very common for both of these top laners up in here. You can see GimGoon already backing out of the lane, and someone actually needs to help him out with that.
And right now, FPX, this feels a lot more like their style. Not the scaling, let's wait for objectives, more about a skirmishing, get the lanes ahead kind of style. They still like the idea of Tahm Kench and Varus, and I would not be surprised to see at least down here to try and implement that lane.
Yeah, and they do still have options. It's not as though that they're beholden to the early game, and if they lose out on that, then rest in peace. GPS some late game scaling capabilities, and on top of that, if they can't find clear picks on the adjacent lanes of mid and bot lane, they can just have Elise solo out the Cloud Dragon and look for the next ones. They can just start dragon stacking, which they were trying to do in the game 1.
Do you see Elise there on your mini-map going towards that bot side? As I say that though, GimGoon and ADD, flash for flash. GimGoon going to be able to force that one out. TP still available though for ADD.
That's a massive win for GimGoon right here, because he's actually zoned out of the way, but wait a minute.
Oh, we're actually going to see the Cocoon miss completely, and that's going to be a full retreat now as we see the Kiana has joined here as well. Tain takes a chunk from XinMo as he goes under the tower. Now we see Doinb joining in with the Sylas going toe-to-toe. Nothing really happening, but again, those 4v2 bot lane dives that we talked about in the early game, trying to get them going for FPX.
But BLG is handling this incredibly well. Not only Meteor coming down bot side and playing defense to that one, of course Cocoon missing is going to make that a lot easier, but Kuro is able to take an extra wave now, so he's going to be pretty damn good in a experience and gold advantage point of view. It's going to be harder for Doinb to justify another rotate if that's the case.
We always talk about the Silk Road from mid to bot lane, and BLG has been warding super diligently. They caught Elise at the backside of the red, saw her coming in, and were able to react really accordingly to it. So I think BLG, the early game warding has just been tremendous coming in from them.
Elise and Kiana on the mini-map. You can see them roaming up here, and they're trying to try and keep down ADD. This could potentially be first blood, as there are no summoners left for the Poppy.
Yeah, take note of the fact that, next wave coming into the top side, the wave is going to get even larger and larger. It's going to be hard for ADD to even be able to pick that wave up underneath this tower. That's why he needs to base immediately, get back to the wave, but instantly now you have Doinb full clearing it, so he doesn't even get the chance.
This guy doesn't have teleport. He's going to have a long trek back into the mid lane, and this is kind of Doinb's style, what has made him so successful. He's not mechanically the most amazing player individually, however, he is the mid laner who is most willing to roam and help his lanes out.
GP is halfway to level 7, by the way. He's actually, like, in terms of just raw experience, so much farther ahead of ADD, who's just trying to get to level 6. So that's pretty insane that we've gotten ourselves to a point where if you just look at the matchup, you say, oh, in terms of CS, Poppy is in a pretty decent spot. But it's GP that have been trying to zone her away from the wave, finally got her pushed out of it, and is now in a pretty healthy CS experience advantage.
Gotta say, that's a lot of tax paid by Doinb and Tain to keep that CS, to keep that experience lead going. and not really even a CS lead on GimGoon right now. So I have to give it to ADD. He's been playing these defensive matchups so well.
And you can see Tain just trying to make something happen in this bot side. We talked about how this Elise early game could end up helping this bot lane, but the side of BLG have been so diligent with their wards. Now they're just completely backing away. They know there is a good ultimate dodge. Doinb does not hit that one there. They do get the flash out of Ezreal.
Yeah, it's trying to keep them honest. You know, Jinjiao had the flash for that one, so now finally has that time, can make another play towards the bot side of the map. I'm not concerned about FPX being able to nail this down immediately. Both side lanes are working out fantastically for FPX. They just need to start playing slowly. So the fact that they were able to get the flash on Jinjiao makes the next play, as I've mentioned, far easier to be an effective dive and kill.
It was not an ineffective roam. They did get turret plating, but Doinb is paying a lot for these rotations. He's down in CS, and for me, Qiyana is a champion that is very much feast for famine. She has great ratios, but very poor base values. If Doinb continues to play like this and they don't get the kills locked down, it becomes very difficult for him to continue the game.
It's pretty damn easy to get those kills, in my opinion, if you set it up properly. And so that's why execution now from this point forward is going to matter. If they look for another play towards the bot side of the map and Tain and Doinb can't get a kill or can't get the turret for that, then suddenly, as you mentioned, you start to really worry. Especially since Kuro is a great Akali player, has the lead for himself in just the CS margins, and will be able to, later on as the game goes on, find that side lane, be able to nail down Doinb in these matchups. So that's what I'm concerned about. I want to see if FPX can find that. They're a great team at being able to execute on plays, so not too concerned about it.
GimGoon has been having a field day in the top lane. You know, that roams are really paying off right now, and we should see a very early Triforce. So would lead into help onto the other parts of the map. He has a faster teleport timing as well, which he can use. And I think FPX are just setting up to transition all of that excess power in the top and seeing if they can just get that tower down in the bottom.
Yeah, I love the fact, because of those concerns, Meteor's top side. He's like, all right, I'm taking the Qiyana ultimate. I'm going towards the top side simply because I know Elise has full control of the area. And I just need to keep my boy ADD alive. But you can't juggle both sides of the map at the same time. You can't be bot side, and now they're in a position where they have to trade. So BLG are either going to lose it all, or they're at least going to send Kuro topside and let GimGoon feel some pain.
And this is such a stark difference from Game 1. In Game 1, GimGoon hard froze his lane right in front of his tower. There was no ganks going into the top side, but this time FPX know that they actually should do a full map press, that their success relies a lot on keeping ADD down as well, and I think they're profiting out of that. They're sacrificing Doinb's farm, but allowing GimGoon and LWX in the bot side to get good leads.
And just kind of to add a little bit to that, I love how aggressively LWX is playing in this lane, because they know that that's the lane they're going to be playing towards as a team. Even just saying that, yeah, I'll get some damage onto Jinjiao underneath tower. I still have Guardian Shield up that will take the majority of the turret shot HP on you. So there we go. Not only did they get the first dragon for themselves, but they're able to even get the bottom lane turret right from the get-go, 10 minutes into the game.
Very, very early first turret, and that means they will get the first rotation up towards that top side and be able to potentially look for even more gold before those turret plates dissipate.
Now it's all about the rotations. They have a very clear path towards the top side. They could defend the Herald from being dropped here by BLG. And this, with the item spike, I believe Blade of the Ruin King should be near completion. They should have a pushing advantage here as well.
Let's see how risky FPX play this one out, because it's expected that they're sending both the Tahm Kench and Varus topside, but you have so much playmaking potential with the Tahm Kench ultimate alongside with the TN stun. They're going to be able to look for a pick on towards ADD. He recognizes it though. Good base coming in for the man.
Yes.
Small update on the stats right there. Okay. When FPX take the first tower, they win 90% of their games.
To be fair, a lot of stats that we end up throwing, like if they're chewing gum on stage, they win like 89% because that win rate that they have. They have the
Jiao
third
pre and post gunners, a lot of those kind of ones that are kind of a little bit wishy-washy.
They are the third highest win rate in the LPL history. Like next to OMG, number one at 89% of the games won. Next to Invictus Gaming Spring 2018 with 88% of their games won. And of course, they were able to hit 87% of their games. So it's FPX having such a historic split, but take a look at the trade in front of you.
And 10 out of the 15 available plates going over to LWX's pocket. He is a very, very rich man. Cocoon lands onto Kuro, goes into Shroud. We are going to see the ultimate use does not land. Doinb, though, has no mana. Needs to be very, very careful. They trade bot lane for top right now, as we see Meteor just fishing for something. Still yet to see a kill now in this game at 12.5 minutes.
I think BLG overstepped when they tried to push for the second tower. This leaves their mid lane wide open. Much better rotation from FPX and the cannon barrage. Smartly for Meteor, he has one himself.
There you go. You know, cannon barrage, nice AP on that one too. So it's pretty good scaling that Silas is able to throw in there. So great wave clear. Nice to see. At least they had that understood.
And right now for FPX, this is, look how much gold is just purely in the pocket of LWX. He's got nearly 1,000 gold lead himself purely from those turret plates. Where do they need to transition this? Where do they need to go in order to seal this game and bring us to a game 3 at 1-1?
Well, I like the idea of going mid lane. I think there's a lot of ways to look for a dive alongside Tain and Doinb too. So as long as they get control on the bot side, red side jungle, then really it's going to be Kuro who can't wave clear whatsoever, who can't keep himself underneath the turret. So my concern with BLG, especially with the comp that they have, is that while they have some disengage with ADD, they just don't have wave clear whatsoever. So this is the chip that's going to be constant. At least turret plates are no longer going to be a factor about 20 seconds in.
Oh, that was close.
Not that
Unfortunate for
close.
Jinjiao.
Not
Didn't get
that
the blue
close.
buff. He knew what was going on.
At least he can see the corpse of the blue buff. And when that happens, you're like, all right, at least I know. I wasn't that far off. It's when you throw the ultimate and nothing was there. It's like, was that done a minute ago?
How far away was I
Yeah.
from this particular steal?
It does look like BLG, like you said, lacking the wave clear, are looking for the power spike with the Iceborne Gauntlet, and FPX are hard committing onto the mid lane. They know this timing window is very beneficial for them.
And they're going to look to try and get some pretty serious chip damage here. Won't be able to take it just yet, but that's down to just about a quarter HP.
So that's the issue, right? BLG, the way that they end up stopping and delaying the game is through fights. Akali needs to find those engaged similar to last game alongside ADD to be able to perturb FPX from looking for the siege. So that's something that we need to look towards. Jinjiao doesn't have damage yet. Kuro still needs. I'll take a look at his items. I've been able to. There we go. He has his gunblade. So he's in a pretty good spot, actually, to be able to support that kind of fight. So that's what I'm looking towards. The issue is the partner in crime here with ADD needs to be in these fights. He's getting pummeled in the top side based off experience alone. But if you're just taking a look at the CS margins, as Clem was talking about, you know, he's been able to keep up. So at least he's close enough to being able to hit his first item.
Yep, and you know, with GimGoon on the side lanes, because of the cannon barrage, I have to say, he did finally overtake in the CS department momentarily. ADD still has that one out now, and I still see FPX trying to hard force this one continuously. If they can get some poke on Jinjiao, like right there, they could remove the last shred of defense in the mid lanes.
The thing for BLG as well, they're waiting for a couple of key items to come in. They're waiting for the Sunfire Cape to be finished and also, of course, the Thornmail so that this ADD Poppy is just nigh impossible to kill. As I say that, though, ADD not going to land the stun with the heroic charge. However, Meteor is here, hasn't stolen ultimate just yet, can steal the cannon barrage if he needs to, and there we are going to see GimGoon use his cannon barrage himself, but it's going to be Akali taking first blood at just under 16 minutes.
There you go. ADD tanked up that turret for a lifetime because he knew that the TP dive was coming through. So they ended up trading for the dragon. Might be able to trade for this mid lane turret as well.
Tien is here off to the side. Flash is going to be enough to try and keep him alive, or is it actually the Rakan able to keep Jinjiao just about alive? Sniped out, but here's the rest of the side of BLG looking for more. Varus ultimate has been stolen. Chris forced the flash away from the stolen chains of corruption. Overall, FPX come out on top.
Yeah, BLG just wanted to draw a line in the sand when it came to the dragon fight. They wanted to go for Meteor, but Meteor should be safe here.
Good escape plan. Oh, wait a minute.
Flash in, knock him back. He flashes away, but he gets caught on the side of that ultimate. Tick, tick, boom. Doinb picks up a kill, and that's going to be FPX taking everything so far as Kuro's just completely caught.
Oh no, like dominoes. They're just dropping. Let's see if Kuro can find himself out of here.
There's Elise here too. It's a 3v1.
3v1. He's going to have some serious fancy feet to try and get himself here. Does not land the cocoon, but it does not matter. TM picks up the third kill for FPX.
Was looking like a great situation initially from BLG because, you know, the trade up top side, nice. And then you were thinking about the teleport coming through to detract them from picking up a kill in the mid lane turret, but FPX plays that out well, finding an exit strategy. And then even worse, Meteor, when they were hunting for him, he wanted to get that Scuttle Crab and then dip out. But not even possible. He flashed in essentially the same location because the ultimate from Qiyana was still going to nail you on the terrain.
I gotta say, this is why I went for FPX 3-0. I think talent-wise, they just outplayed every single one of those fights that we saw. There was 3 fights overall. GimGoon dragged enough of the tower wave away from the top side, and then LWS had a great flash to escape that one. So this is really good play from FPX. They're the ones doing the punishing for BLG's over-aggression now.
Yeah, but guess what? You're wrong still, though. I agree. I understand the expectation you had, but BLG, oh my goodness, what the heck?
That was close. That was close.
XinMo baits out the ultimate, gets himself that one for free. No real objective, though, to be playing for right now, as we see GimGoon and ADD going at each other on the top side. There's a hell of a lot of armor now on top of ADD, even without any real finished items.
Good lord, he went back to base, was able to get himself a Glacial Shroud, but take a look at this.
Oh, Kuro gonna get hit up there with the supreme display of talent, and Doinb says welcome to the playoffs.
Welcome to the Duskblade Snowball. That execute on his Earthground Q2 did a lot. This is when you start worrying about BLG, because their side lane's not looking too good, but trying to find the pick on a Crisp.
And he's a very tanky boy as he goes golden as well. Cannon Barrage going to be used to try and keep him alive as well. There is the charm as well with the quickness. Crisp will not fall. It's actually XinMo who goes down. They get Silas to get him on the backside, but LWX is just able to keep himself and the rest of his team alive. Meteor and ADD trying to run away. Jinjiao trying to keep himself at a safe distance. They will kill off the Poppy as Meteor jumps back in, but it's not going to be enough damage. It's going to be a 3-for-1 overall.
This is a big FPX now. 3 kills to Varus, 2 kills based off that bot lane assassination to Qiyana. They're looking incredibly strong. That snowball is working against BLG.
And I have to say, BLG just didn't have the damage lockdown in that one. They were the ones that started the top side fight, thinking that, you know, Doinb's not here. Maybe we can take this, but outplays once again. And this play right here, this just reminds me of the play we saw in the LEC, where Jizuke was able to snipe out Qiyana with ease, but when you get the drop on someone, assassin fights come down to the knife's edge.
And what's tough is that Shroud's not going to save you. You know, auto locked on with the Q snare that she was able to find the stun in the river stance, and then was able to ultimately take you down with that Q. But take a look at the fight coming through here while Qiyana's finding the rotation. LWX was just going to work. Sad thing about this too is that GimGoon was untouched here. ADD was trying to slow them down so they wouldn't completely chase Meteor, but you realize, wait a minute, LWX is a little bit too strong still. So at this stage, LWX is well protected, and also GimGoon is still stacking.
And this is great to see from FPX as well. We were all talking to each other, you know, during the break about kind of like the nerves are real, the curse is real, like they're not going to be able to do this. Oh, you know, oh dear for any FPX fans. They've shaken off their jitters. They've come in with a far better game plan, and it looks like they're executing it far cleaner.
Well, adaptation is certainly the name of the game for both of these teams that are, you know, our strongest teams in the LPL. For me, BLG taking this one on the chin, but they still have some room, you know, giving them options here. You know, 6K gold lead being there for FPX, but teamfight power is still an option here if Kuro can find that pick.
The Dragon is just about to spawn. It is a Mountain Drake.
Remember, he wasn't a part of the fight. That's why both him and Qiyana
I was about to say, but Cocoon lands on the tankiest member, and they are just shredding through the tankiest member with the supreme display of talent alongside the Cannon Barrage to try and follow up. They will not pick up any more kills, but it's almost certainly going to be the Mountain Drake for FPX.
Stacks a lot of armor. First one he faces is an Elise outside the brush, and he falls down so incredibly fast for that one. Insane amounts of damage there, and I don't think ADD even expected he would die to that.
Yep, not only has he got all the levels right next to him, Tain has gotten just raw, flat magic penetration based off the boots and Oblivion Orb alone. So it's a lot of burst that you now have alongside the Qiyana, LWX. So the damage is going to still be very respectable.
And right now, if you're BLG, that's a scary prospect that your tankiest member just got melted because of a full AP elite, but also just the Blighted Quivers being able to shred through that HP as well. The Varus is not going to be afraid of this Poppy regardless of the amount of armor she builds.
I think we're seeing some of the adaptations from FPX coming out, strengthening in this game. Number one, early game, they were a lot more active in GimGoon's lane. And number two, when this late game goes on, they have an answer to side lane split pushing. Doinb has been super active in the bottom side of the map. We've already seen him got a great solo kill onto Kuro, and he's going to continue that. BLG now find themselves a bit on the rope without damage, and maybe only with pick potential.
And right now, BLG need to try and find an answer to the raging FPX early game that has occurred. They've got themselves 3 Drakes, about a 6,000 gold lead, just under 3 towers to 1. And this is where the issue of no real kind of wave clear, which we talked about, kind of becomes a huge issue for the side of BLG because they can't really deal with the several pushing waves coming in and crashing to their turrets.
Yeah, and I think for BLG, what they really need is Meteor finding a GP ultimate boosted with that AP. Or another one would be being able to get a Varus ultimate that can set up Kuro in these fights. They need to be able to start the fight incredibly strong. Finding a pick onto Tain would be a good start, but they don't have the members or at least the vision to really be confident about that.
How about the Kiana ultimate? He had a couple pretty good ones last time around.
That's very true.
Should have won an MVP. Oh, but here we go.
Yeah, they are starting this. There is no real vision for the side of BLG, and this Baron is being melted right now. They now know it's going down, but it's down to about 2,000 HP, and there's nothing that BLG can do. They go for the steal! Not quite able to get it, and it is going to be Tain securing that one with a smite.
That's why you got to respect Jinjiao's ultimate. He was so close to getting that blue buff, recalculated, and should have been able to nail that Baron
He's
buff.
been practicing. He tried the blue buff, didn't get it. Tried the Mountain Drake, didn't get it.
There we
This
go.
time, getting closer and closer.
He's warming up.
I thought that was the comeback. The timing was picture perfect. You couldn't tell just by the image on screen who actually took the Baron. You had to wait until the notice popped up.
And that just, kind of enables FPX even further now. They can kind of stretch and, move BLG across the map as much as they like because they're the ones who've been looking for this 1-3-1 to really, utilize the Tahm Kench and, the kind of semi-globals you have with the Cannon Barrage and the Abyssal Voyage.
By the way, take a look at the vision control coming in from FPX. So a great adaptation that we now have from Game 1 to Game 2. Game 1, they had Baron buff too, but they just barreled straight through the mid lane and didn't learn that lesson a few times over. This time around, GimGoon's keeping true to the bottom side of the map, and Tain is holding his hands for that. Oh my goodness.
Tain just shreds through them, but this is the fight they're looking for. TP on the backside is going to have Kuro. Cannon Barrages, a Venn diagram of Cannon Barrages coming in. LWX, though, has been jumped on by Kuro as he tries to try and assassinate the AD carry, but he's just got too much sustain, he's got too much health. He will eventually go down to Meteor, and now it's a 1-for-1 trade, 2-for-1 trade in favor of BLG. Doinb, though, has got the ultimate, will not hit anybody on top of it, but it doesn't matter because he's got so much damage. He will eventually be able to pick up one, oh, actually, let's say that. Meteor just trying to trade back. They lose 3 for 3. But overall, FPX will still be able to push in with the Baron buff.
And what stinks is that the wave is right next to GimGoon and Doinb. So even though for BLG, you want that trade, you want gold underneath you, you've now potentially lost an inhibitor for all of that.
That was really well done by Kuro to find the collapse, but FPX, in the end, they just have too much ammunition. They survived through that. Tain had a great start to the fight. He got a huge chunk of ADD, was able to, repel out and just keep himself alive.
Oh, we actually see a little bit of a re-engage here as ADD looking to try and just slow down the side of FPX. Very hard to catch Doinb and GimGoon, but as I say that though, TP going to be coming off the back side of this. It is going to be Jinjiao with that Iceborne Gauntlet trying to slow people down. They're really chasing for this. Flash, knock up. They're going to try and jump in on top of them. Will they be able to get the final 2? Baron buffs! Not quite able to get one. They will get the other. GimGoon will survive another day.
Doinb, you've been evicted from the island. Crisp has made his choice. I gave him respect there. Doinb, you knew that Doinb at least had more mobility in his cards. He was like, okay, well, we need GP. If there's a fight to ensue, you need him alongside with you. Good call from the Tahm Kench. BLG is thirsty for a fight.
Oh, they're actually going to grab Tain now. They have got a bit of a advantage, and actually Tain ends up getting himself 2v1 into his AD carry, but that's with a Dragon help as well. TP coming up the backside as well as GimGoon rejoins the fight. It's going to be the second Mountain Drake of the game as Kuro finds himself in the back of the pit where nowhere to go. Looks like FPX going to try and back away from this one at the start. Dragon down to about 50% HP. It looks like BLG are going to try and commit to it. It resets though, so they're not able to get the full burst down on top of it. Tam Kench is blocked away, but TN trades his life for the Dragon. The ensuing fight is trying to come in, but BLG just can't get any CC to stick, and it's going to be FPX trading one for a Dragon.
Now that we have some space to just breathe and talk about what just happened, BLG was the major winner throughout all of this. Because it was a 3v3 trade, sure. But they wanted that. The fact that FPX even chose that fight, rather than just letting your split pusher go, means that BLG was able to pick an even fight. Great. Now you're right, bottom lane inhibitor, that's still a pretty big net win for FPX, but BLG chased them down, was able to pick up the Dragon in the ensuing fight after now. You have 7 to 11, and the goal lead is not as large as it was about 4 minutes ago.
I have to say the kill was necessary for BLG to wait out the Baron and have a fighting chance over in the future. But FPX had set themselves up for such a great Elder Dragon. They have 4 right now with double mountains. It's going to make them so fast at taking it down. And you also have to think about the fact that they have full map control. So even if they split objectives, they're going to come out as the big winners. We might be seeing their first Elder Dragon coming in for this squad.
Yeah, to the point about the setup, FPX have set themselves up that even if they lose a fight, or, you know, in that last case that we saw, they went even, they picked up so much on the map because they're playing with their waves. The waves are being able to crash in at the same time, and there's just so much respect that BLG now have to have. I just don't think they want to fight now, ever. If they lose this next fight, they potentially lose the game with the bot lane inhibitor now taken.
It's going to be ADD just pushing that one out. Has got TP should he want to join the fight, but of course will take a while to channel that. And without ADD, there's no real kind of solid engage outside of the Rakan for the side of BLG. Lots of ways of disengaging, though, from the side of FPX. They will take themselves the last outer turret and back themselves away.
So, keynote to take note of is the fact that BLG were able to find the kill into LWX. They put a lot of resources into it, but once they're able to nail him down, easy fight from that point forward. Now he has a Guardian Angel. So he had a stopwatch for a little bit there, was able to pick up GA, he's always had that Hex Drinker. It's incredibly difficult to burn him down with the amount of magic resist and a second chance of life that he has.
I've got the perfect scenario for you. If BLG are going to win this, ADD is going to have a great ultimate, knock 2 people away from the pit, and they're going to catch FPX red-handed at Baron. That's their comeback script, okay?
I thought you were going to be talking about like a thunderstorm in Beijing. If something like that would happen.
Power goes out. Nobody can do it, and we do a full reset. But I do agree, if ADD is able to, kind of use the Keeper's Verdict to knock away the Tam Kench, that gives so much safety to the side of FPX, that is where I see them able to kind of take those fights.
That's very true. In fact, like, goal lead, we always talk about Poppy and her ultimate, that's always that intangible, where you don't really know a gold value in a team fight until after the Poppy ultimate comes through. Did she take out the most healthy members of the fight? Last time she took out Tam Kench, suddenly Tien was just going to die for free. So those are the moments where you kind of have to clue in on. People have to outplay the Poppy ultimate to see if they can really take to the fight.
And I like what FPX are doing here. They're playing with their minion waves. Once again, that bottom side is absolutely massive right now. And they know that someone has to go down there. They're going to start the Baron themselves.
They're going to start it. They are going to see the stolen cannon barrage, though, from Meteor going to be used. They try and jump onto Doinb. Backs away. Tien also going to go up with the spider form. They are going to try and start this fight off. There's a TP coming in off of this as well. Redemption goes down, but it's a great supreme display of talent to stop everybody else. XinMo is the first one to fall, along with Meteor, along with the Baron being the 6th man. Can FPX really try and push this one? But Kuro takes down GimGoon, and they look to try and keep going for this. It's a 3 for none, but Tien is so low. ADD is still in this fight. The Jinjiao is still pushing and prodding. They will end up losing this, but the minions are still pushing in the base.
Yeah, let's see if anything can be done about it.
He can't. The inhibitor respawn. They actually don't get the turrets.
Oh.
Wait a minute. Can ADD get out? We know where you are. Come out with your hands up.
He knows exactly where he is. ADD now going to be forced into a 1v1 with Doinb. Will get a little bit of a stun. And actually, Doinb needs to be very careful. There's a Thornmail. There's a lot of deepest wounds. No mana, no way out. Has to go golden. They're back on the Baron, though. And it will be Doinb going down. That could be a big mistake. They will take the Baron. But can they get out of this? What's their exit strategy?
Poppy's goal is to keep them in the fight. You have a lot of people coming through, back from base. It's not going to be the call here. At least they're competitive. At least you were able to trade back on a kill there. But FPX have now landed themselves that second Baron.
That was extremely lucky for BLG that they had their inhibitor turret up. The inhibitor comes back at the exact moment to stop the push in. And I gotta say, that was so well done by FPX. They prompted BLG to respond with the 5-man. They had the push going down on there. Everything was perfectly laid out. And sure, a bit of question marks from the start of that where Tin nearly goes down, but they still finish with flying colors.
Thing right now is that fight was a hell of a lot closer than that gold lead suggests. That's an 8,000 gold lead, and that was a 2-for-2 trade. So it's going to be a lot harder for them to try and go in if they are not able to utilize this Baron buff correctly.
Yeah, they're just able to find great picks onto Doinb, honestly. And another thing, too, is as the game goes on, the value of the lease is just simply going to be through her cocoon. She's not going to be providing much real benefit to the backline, especially if ADD is just going to be there soaking that up. So he's already gotten his first magic resist item, hooray. Like, he's starting to really respect the Elise and really building for that. So that's the concern that we're kind of nailing down. If FPX loses another fight, elongates the game, Kuro and Jinjiao will have the space to really deliver.
What I was so impressed about is Tin actually going back in the fight with sub 100 HP. Jinjiao was there on an Ezreal across the river, and he was like, you know what? I'm sticking in just to cocoon the Akali and make sure she dies. So very impressive in how he's able to calculate his HP bars, and he baited out so many abilities from BLG. MVP of the fight for me in that one.
Have a quick look at the items as we are hitting the 33-minute mark. You've got the 3 items onto your Gangplank who's going to be able to blow you up with these barrels similar to the last game. But you've also got the 4-item Kiana, has got the Black Cleaver with the Yomus and the Duskblade and the GA. So it becomes even harder to try and kill her. So you see the Varus going to be joining the fight now into this mid lane. Baron buff still got about another minute 20 on it. It'll be difficult for the side of BLG to really try and stop FPX as they have very little wave clear.
I like that GimGoon and Tain are starting to move towards the bot side fairly slowly. They really do need a side lane to get moving. So top lane, side lane, not going to be a possibility. The wave is way too far out.
Doinb.
All right, what
Needs
you doing,
to be very careful. There was a Hextech Gunblade used to try and just dissuade him from that ward, but now the turret on the inhibitor mid lane has been threatened. Very difficult for FPX to really go on top of this, though.
Now they're pinging onto the bottom lane wave. I think it should have been pushed a little bit earlier, but it is starting to gather a lot of force. And on top of that, remember, that's just an open inhibitor. So it really is just going to be about FPX rolling with a pretty large wave, looking to get a pick onto that inhib, but that's a lot of damage on the Jinjiao and XinMo there.
Yeah, has to do redemption there just to try and heal this one back up. They do push in that bot wave, like you said, only 25 seconds left. And they're going to get the stolen cannon barrage to try and thin out this wave. Will it be enough to defend this inhibitor turret? Just about, but a slight breeze will take that one down.
Eyes on Doinb. The moment you get into the base, there are actually a lot of terrain surrounding you if you're defending that mid lane turret. So they're just going to leave it, let it go. They might even let go of this inhibitor as well.
They're testing themselves, poking and prodding, and it is going to be given up for them straight away. And FPX now set their sights on the bot side.
And I like how FPX keep themselves split up from this one. Doinb is one catching some flack right now.
Here we go, Cannon Barrage. That's going to be the actual GimGoon one used. Everyone just disengages. Doinb took a bit of a bad trade there from ADD. And looks like the side of FPX don't feel confident enough to come back into this.
But yeah, mission complete for FPX. They're able to find that mid lane inhibitor, and they can always come back for the bot one.
They never allowed BLG to ever get an initiation. I think that was the key point in that one.
True, and that's what we wanted to see out of them in Game 1. Because once you were able to find that Baron buff for yourself, there should never be a situation where you're caught off guard. It should be BLG that's doing all the work, and it's very much true this game. It's BLG putting in work to at least stopping Doinb from getting into the base and losing objectives because of it.
I've got to say, you know, kudos to BLG right now, because given how the early game went, how dominated it was by FPX, they were able to utilize those, you know, roams from Doinb in the mid lane and also use the Elise very, very effectively to get LWX. The gold lead becomes very, very irrelevant the longer this game goes on. You've got your death cap onto your Sylas. You have 4.5 items with that quick silver sash on Jinjiao. You now are at a point in the game where you could take a team fight and actually look to contest FPX, regardless of your 9,000 gold behind or not.
If BLG find open terrain, I actually favor their 5v5 in terms of a front-to-back team fight. They've got a great front line in Poppy that can knock someone away, and then Akali can go right into you. And their backline's relatively safe with the Ezreal. So if you discount the gold lead, they still have a pretty good fighting chance just in the middle of the map.
And something we alluded to last game, because this is the second Varus game now, is that it's just so hard to stop them from getting at you. Take a look at the flank here from Doinb. Oh
Here we go, though. They're going to try and get on top of this. XinMo jumps in. He gets a two-man knock-up, but not able to kill anyone just yet. GimGoon's going to be there, but Poppy is deleted. And a supreme display of talent is going to mean the triple kill for Doinb. And FPX have found their fight. They found their flank. Kuro and Jinjiao going to try and keep themselves alive, keep those minion waves away. But you can see Tom Kench has already gone towards the bot side. He's going to look to push that bot lane with GimGoon.
You got to stop them at this state. Keeping Jinjiao and Kuro alive as long as possible, it's going to be real hard for them to look to defend their base. This should be an endgame scenario for FPX.
And Kuro actually did a little bit of a ring around the rosy, but it does not matter if they go down or not. As you can see, Cocoon lands, the Ezreal picked up, the Nexus turrets go down. FPX tie up the series 1-1. And that was more like the FPX we're used to.
That's Doinb coming to play in this one. He finally gone through his style. In game one, his Rumble wasn't really allowed to roam that much. In this one, he's forcing it. He's leaving the tower CS and he's going to the top lane, going to the bottom lane first. There was 3 to 4 roams before the 10-minute mark where Qiyana was able to influence how a lane was playing out. They got turret plating, there were 5 turret platings ahead, and they were able to snowball off of that.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's BLG that is doing a great job defending their side lanes from getting dove, but FPX have understood, have adapted, and said, we're not going for the kills. Turret platings in both lanes were egregious and were something that BLG were leading away, and so the slight goal lead that was there in the early game was the Akali picking up the wave, while it was the Qiyana setting up the side lanes, and so pretty crazy situation. BLG has to be the team now that has to think more about the lanes.
And despite them getting a couple of kills, despite a couple of fights going in favor of BLG, it's not about the kills like you just said, it's about the objectives. You look at a 5-dragon game, 10 turrets to 1, 2 barons, effectively near a perfect game for the side of FPX, apart from that 1 turret, you know, objective-wise.
And so for me, the one that stands out throughout the entire early game was the Poppy pick. Because we know ADD's Poppy, there is so much confidence behind it, which is why he blind picked the Poppy. No one in the world will blind pick that Poppy knowing you're going up against GimGoon with how many picks that he has there. But he's undefeated on the pick until this game. And so ADD comes into this one now thinking, well, I have to respect the matchup. So that's the name of the game, respect the matchup, because you can't come into this game making it this hard for Meteor to defend both side lanes at the same time. You're forced to trade, you end up losing because of it.
Key point for me in that game was the solo kill in the bottom lane, Doinb versus Akali. Akali never left the lane. She had a CS lead, it was almost 20 CS. Doinb was the one running around, but then Doinb gets the kill and actually reverses into the lane situation. And if you look at BLG's comp, their answer was kind of the 4-1. They didn't have the 1-3-1 anymore. Poppy was going to win that against the game flank. And once that was shut down, they didn't have many avenues to then walk back onto the map. So Doinb stamped his foot down. He said, there is no curse here. I'm here to play.
Yeah, so it feels bad if you're in Akali and you're taking what seems like the optimal play for your own lane, but you're thinking about the match situation, the state of the map. Guess what? 10 minutes, bot lane gets the entire turret. Rather than having a conversation of gold flowing in towards the Varus, it's now, no, Varus and both the Varus and the side lane, the Tahm Kench, can start moving around the map, impacting vision control. BLG was losing a lot of that. So if you're thinking at the, kind of retrospectively, if you're thinking of the past, it's really Kuro saying, well, maybe I should have been able to move with the play. Because even though I'm netting some CS for myself, great. Well, sadly, your bot lane is losing a lot of pressure and it just outright needs you.
I really like the fact that they let Ezreal through the draft. I was taking that, saying that should be banned away because they've only lost 1 game on Ezreal so far. It's been one of Jinjiao's most successful champions, but they did punish the fact that it lacked wave clear, wasn't able to defend towers very, very well. So, kudos to Warhorse, thinking a step ahead. To me.
Yep, it's now 2 losses in it for Jinjiao, but we'll have to see now what BLG can cook up in their return. We're going to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll have Game 3.